Okay, so we're recording. Let's start over. So, further to yesterday, or actually earlier today. So, we're talking further on the TikTok ban, ByteDance, who this company is, why this is important to a Westerner. I spent 30 minutes trying to explain it as best I could. Yeah, I'm pretty verbose. What I did forget to go into is a gentleman, second in command, arguably, gentleman by the name of Wei Yingma. Who is Wei Yingma? Wei Yingma, besides being hundreds of patents and an expert in AI, Wei Yingma also happens to be the head. Well, let me just start over. Okay, so ByteDance, uh, which owns TikTok, the president, they kind of shift around who's in. But so second in command, arguably, is this gentleman by the name of Wei Yingma. As I mentioned in the previous video, ByteDance was originally founded by a gentleman, and pardon my memory here. Oh, it's funny that there he is, Zhang Jimin. Zhang Jimin. And I've explained right the issues with him, but what I forgot to mention was the second in command, this gentleman by the name of Wei Yingma. Okay, so see that a little bit better. So besides ByteDance, as you can see, the Tao, Squaw, Video, other products you can see, Top Buzz, Flipagram, Cheetah Mobile, the News Republic from Cheetah Mobile. I mean, it's a long list of stuff. But what's important here? Well, April 2020, the Cyberspace Administration of China ordered ByteDance to take down its office collaboration tool called Faishu because it could be used to circumvent their internet censorship, which is the People's Republic of China. Block just about everything. So remember my previous video when they said it was, you know, um, unheard of that they would ban TikTok. Yeah, come on, smarten up, right? List of overseas products. Look at this. They actually have a competitor to the G Suite. That's a Google suite of products. Why? Because Google's one of them banned products, and theirs happens to be the opposite of the previous video. So they have had the PRC block the G Suite so they could create themselves their own competitor called Lark. Kind of funny, eh? Lark. God, what a fark. But what we're talking about here is the second command. Wei Yingma. Wei Yingma is ByteDance second in command. ByteDance has a research arm called the AI Lab. Founded in March 2016, it's headed by Wei Yingma. Wei Yingma is a former assistant director of Microsoft Research Asia, as you can see here. Still listed as such in most IT. Why? Because he's working for the CCP now and ByteDance. The lab's focus is AI and understanding information, text, images, video in depth, and developing large-scale machine learning algorithms for personalized information recommendations. What are we talking about here? Right, what are we talking about? I'm about to show you how crazy it gets. But what we're talking about here is the second in command of TikTok, ByteDance, is the developer, the maintainer, the originator, the implementer of Big Brother in China. The news that we're hearing, how they're keeping track of every single Chinese citizen, how they're able to track the different cultural groups, now tracking in Hong Kong. Okay, now let's just go and listen to. Now, this, by the way, if you're not familiar, China in Focus is, yes, it is biased, because it is Taiwanese or mainland Chinese expats, heavily supported by the Falun Gong or Falun Dafa. They're a whole separate video. They're certainly not as bad as China makes them out to be, but I mean they got some really weird beliefs. They're a cult. That said, they don't deserve to be treated the way they do. But this surveillance state is being used. This technology is being used outside of the border. As I said, they're watching it in Hong Kong, but now this is the problem with TikTok. Is this app, and you're going to learn some stuff about what the app can do, is it happening over here? We've already found out that some North American apps have been known to have the microphones still operating, but let's listen to this. It's eye-opening. Again, the reason why I mention NTD or China in Focus is because they're China's native Chinese speakers. They have sources in China, mainland China, in Hong Kong and Taiwan. I mean, native speakers. They understand the culture. They're able to get information that's unavailable to the majority of other news sources, because most of the Chinese speaking news sources outside of Taiwan and I say even Singapore, the majority of them are definitely going to have a CCP slant, either by choice, as I mentioned, that the owner or the originator of ByteDance is definitely on the side of the CCP, or they just use their brutal politics and power to bully people and publications and companies to either support them or just not stand in the way of their plans. But anyways, let's watch this.
The CCP has been using more sophisticated technology and putting more money in surveillance. This brings the CCP surveillance state to the next level.
The CCP surveillance has expanded into monitoring users' offline conversations. The Chinese version of popular video sharing app TikTok, called Douyin, has again been accused by some users of doing the same. But it's not the only one. One user, Miss Yang, told Radio Free Asia about something strange she noticed while using TikTok and Chinese shopping app Taobao. She noticed the Taobao app, the largest online shopping platform in China, has push notifications for items she's mentioned while talking in person with coworkers. That's despite her not making related searches for similar items online or mentioning them during phone conversations. Professionals say it's a common practice among apps made in China. According to Mr. Jin, a former data engineer for Huawei, Chinese apps are certainly able to record information without users even running the apps. Taobao and WeChat are suspected of storing personal data from Ms. Yang and readily sharing it with the regime. Early in 2017, an internal document from the CCP Stability Maintenance Department stated that video monitoring can be extended to people's homes or through mobile phone software. The policy was put in place to refine Project Dazzling Snow, a nationwide project envisioned to create full geographic coverage, full network sharing, full-time coverage, and full operational control. CCP has invested huge amounts of money in the initiative. NTD's sister media, the Epoch Times, obtained an internal document detailing municipal-level project budgets, specifically for Anhui Province. The document revealed that the region's major city of Wuhu has already invested an amount equaling 1/5 of its annual education budget and 1/3 of its annual medical care expenses. Another common method used by the party in order to secure its control over all individuals is to divide areas into grids and monitor them accordingly. A city in the southern end of Anhui Province even takes it one step further. Authorities there set up a CCP branch inside each grid section to ensure the effectiveness of its big brother control.
So before we continue with this, you can see everything that I mentioned. But the important thing is you got to remember we've seen this to be a fact. So now we see the reason why we don't want any apps that are controlled by a bad actor, no matter where they're located, globally or not, because it's so easy to route data through, a data center offshore. And we've already seen that as well. That they promised that North American data would be routed through North American servers, and they were not. Same issue I mentioned earlier with the Indian market, or the transferring to India. I mean, what's stopping them from sharing that same data, mirroring that same data? So if you were to, track this data back, it will show it as going to India as its final destination. But unless you're on the hardware, you won't see that every bit and every byte is being mirrored to servers, arguably just over the border, right, in occupied Tibet. So let's continue.
Still, another city inside Anhui is also involved, called Bengbu. It's home to nearly 4 million people. That city alone uses around $12 million from its budgets every year to find the grid sensor workers. That's to guarantee at least one person is assigned to each surveillance grid section. Reporting by Xu Wenhui, NTD News.
South Korean electronics company Samsung announced over the weekend it would close its computer factory in China. Samsung used to be one of the multinational companies with a close relationship with China. But over the last 3 years, it has accelerated the closure of its factories in China. Its factories for printers, communication equipment, and electronic equipment for cars, as well as 2 for mobile phone productions, have been closed so far. Only 2 businesses from Samsung are left in China, one for electronics liquid crystal display technology and one for flash memory chips.
Okay, so I didn't really need to let it run into that, but then that could be our final point here. So Samsung has been moving out of China for a long time. Why? Because exactly what I was mentioning earlier, but it goes one step further. So not only does a company have to get in bed with the CCP if they want to operate in China, but each company must provide its source code and its technology to the CCP. So in this case, as you say, printers, maybe not that big of a risk. Definitely network devices, infrastructure, mobile phones, anything that can be messed with. Liquid LED displays, or even flash memory. Flash memory, there ain't much they can do with it. The reason why it's called flash is because it doesn't keep the memory. So it's not like they can inject some malware or something into flash memory. So they'll still continue to build that. They wanted to get the stuff because it's twofold. One, they know that at any point the CCP could ask for this content to be added to, say, their source code, some sort of monitoring or a backdoor. And so it predates these issues. TikTok has just brought it to light at how extreme the overreach, how extreme the arrogance is. The fact that everything that is free, free as in liberty, libre, everything that is uncensored is blocked, banned in mainland China. But the main device, as I said, as she was talking about, the main device for surveillance for the entire country of China, and arguably being used to surveil other countries as well, is not only controlled, invented, I mean, it's all connected. And this one company that we're talking about is arguably the source of both this big brother surveillance state that is abusing the Uyghurs and the Tibetans, the Mongolians, and the Hong Kong people, looking to harm and invade and interfere with the Taiwanese. But here we are making allowances. Yet, I've said this a million times, we pretty much ruined a country over segregation, apartheid. But we have a country that has proven itself to be a bad actor, murdering its own people, treating the Uyghurs like less than animals. The Falun Gong are being used for organ harvests, and I mean, arguably, like I said, they're a little weird. It could be arguably called a cult, but it's not really their fault. I mean, the Qigong that they use had been stripped of its Buddhist roots. The Taoist teachings they received in the last 40, 50 years are absent of the original understanding of the golden mean, right? Not insufficiency, not excess. I mean, China is arguably nothing but insufficiency and excess. I mean, the rich have billions, like the owner of this company, and the poor have nothing. Like, as it is often said, the value of life in China is very low, right? And one gentleman made a joke who spent 20 years in China as a Westerner, and he said, I mean, China, if they had to, they would put every single citizen up against those dams that are all about to burst, and they would risk and even willingly give the life of 1 billion, 1.5 billion Chinese people if they had it to give, to protect the CCP. So, I mean, I think we should applaud this move. This is not some sort of weird overreach by the U.S. This is simply protection from a bad actor who is known to be using these apps to not only bilk the West of their wealth, but possibly, at minimum, to strengthen their own surveillance software, but possibly as much as using it to surveil and abuse the Western users of its apps with an intention to destabilize the entire West. That's a big theory, but that's where I'm at here. So that's about it. I hope that made it clear as mud.